Welcome, leaders, teams, and those ready to take charge of their energy. It's Kelly Bubolz, your guide in workforce energy management. Burnout is not just a buzzword, it's a symptom of deeper root cause stressors. We're here to stop waiting for the change and start leading it. It's time to reclaim our energy and lead our days with intention and purpose. Leadership isn't just about strategy. It's about carrying an emotional weight. But what happens when that weight drains your energy? I thought this was just an HR thing. In human resources, you carry a lot of stories, a lot of things that are going to happen or have happened, and you just have to move on. But as I got more into leadership training and development over the last decade, I found that leaders carry similar weight, that the effort of managing emotions, your own and others, is exhausting. It's like this emotional roller coaster, but you have no time to actually process it. It's like staying calm during conflict, trying to mediate the conversation, supporting stressed employees, keeping morale up while yours is just completely draining. It's not having that personal opinion in situations because you are the leader and you have to remain impartial. It's being invisible in a very energy intensive type of position. And emotional drain shows up in different ways. Leaders can feel always on. They can have that compassion fatigue, that numbness to others' challenges suddenly, where they have that lack of empathy going on. They might even have a shorter temper, shorter patience with people. A leader who listens empathetically all day and they come home and they word vomit all over their partner, their family, or they're completely spent. They don't want to talk about anything. They just want to numb out. Those are symptoms of emotional drain. I know you're tired, so let's get into some strategies for energy renewal, things that helped me when I was leading teams and when I was in HR, that this emotional toll started to just drain my days. You know, like you just couldn't pay me enough some days to do this job, that type of feeling. So let's go through some strategies that I thought were really practical. They didn't take a lot of time and they were sustainable. Like I could continue doing them and was still energized. The first one is peer support. Do you have a space or can you create a space where leaders can unload safely? And that's why I always suggest a third-party facilitator for your leadership development, your leadership coaching. Because if your HR person is doing the leadership coaching, if someone within your organization is doing all the leadership development and coaching, you are not getting the whole story. You're not getting the whole conversation, and people do not feel safe talking to you. For example, I did a lot of the leadership training for our manufacturing plants around the United States. And there are conversations that they had with me after the session because I was not their direct HR person for their location. The other HR person might have been there, but then after the program, when that HR person leaves, they sit down and have more of a candid, honest conversation about what's going on because I am not their HR person. There's many companies that have hired me for facilitation, and when I do follow-up meetings with their executive leadership team on what's going on, they're surprised, right? And I do it in a way that's still anonymous and confidential for the leaders that shared things with me that you can't figure out who it is that said it to me, but they open up. They really talk about what's real going on in the organization when you have that outside third party. So do your leaders have that? Do they have it within your organization to talk to one another in situations that they feel comfortable with? Do they have it on the outside to talk about things that they're trying to navigate that they don't feel comfortable talking about within your organization? So how are they unloading this emotional load safely? And what kind of support can you give yourself? Can you give your team in that? The next strategy I want to talk about is boundaries. So normalize saying, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Or if it's after hours, not responding at all and responding the next day. And that's 100% on us as individuals, is creating those boundaries. And once you normalize it, it spreads like wildfire. Other people start to do it. They don't respond at night and they'll respond the next day, or they'll say, I'll get back to you tomorrow. When you start normalizing the boundaries, except for those very, very, very emergency situations, you start to reclaim your energy because you start to say, This is not a workspace. This is my space for me. And that energy starts to return. So what type of boundaries do you set? In my leadership mastermind, we hold each other accountable for this because this is a behavior change. Because usually people in leadership positions want to support their team. They are there for them. So they feel the need to always be on. And so we hold each other accountable for these boundaries and how we deal with the hurdles when trying to reroute our behaviors around those. The next strategy is micro recovery breaks. So do you do some breath work, short walks, music resets? After heavy conversations, you're going to hear information, you're going to get in discussions that you are not going to like, that you wish you never heard. What do you do with that? Especially when you have to show back up at work. Maybe it's even you're at work and hearing this right away in the morning and you've still got 7-8 hours to go yet. How are you going to recover from that? Getting really good at when you need a micro break. So that's like 5 minutes, 10-minute breaks. When you need to step outside, when you need to get away from screens, when you need to get out of the plant, when you need to get away from customers. Getting really good at those micro recovery breaks is going to help you reset throughout the day versus like this complete drain at the end of the night. The other thing that you're doing is you're showing the team how to navigate difficult things. You're modeling the behavior that you want to see, and you want your team on point and energized. So showing it by doing it is going to show them it's acceptable to also take micro resets. The last strategy I want to talk about that I thought was pretty practical and sustainable to apply is to rotate the emotional load. So that means I'm going to share some responsibilities with different leaders. There are things that I cannot change in my position. So maybe I'm over people, but I cannot change process, product, systems. So there's other leaders that probably lead those initiatives, those systems, those processes, those products. What load can they take? And it doesn't mean I'm dumping it on them. It doesn't mean that I'm going to, throw the hot flaming potato at them. It means I need to share some things that I have zero control over. So I'm going to identify what's in my control, which is maybe if I'm the people leader, communication back to my team, how we're going to navigate the things we can control. But then I'm also going to get the leader who's in charge of that initiative, the product, process, systems, involved on what can we do to move forward so this is more successful, right? It's in a positive energy of change, of challenging what has been to make it better. And that means that I don't have to carry that load because it's not even my responsibility. And so we don't want to get into deflection and blame. We want to do better than we are today. So how can I share that load? And I think it's perfectly fine as a leader to describe it as that. Say if I'm a people leader, there's system glitches, people aren't using the system, and we have a system leader of that initiative. I'm going to sit down with that person and say, hey, every time we have a meeting, we spend most of the meeting talking about these system issues. It is an energy drainer, and I'm trying to navigate how we can move forward in a productive way without burning my team out. How can we move forward here? How can we at least address one of these challenges that are being brought up with our system issues? Do you see how the load just got spread out, but I didn't dump on them. I didn't blame them for what's going on. I want to challenge the norm because we can do better. So rotating that emotional load, sharing those responsibilities is going to help. Between pure support and that third party dynamics, facilitation and support and coaching that you can get, establishing and normalizing boundaries, micro recoveries throughout your day, and rotating or sharing that emotional load, those responsibilities, is going to bring you to be a healthy leader. And healthy leaders bring healthy teams. So I challenge you this week as a recovery practice after a heavy leadership moment to try out one of these strategies. Today's step matters. It's in the micro moments that real change begins. Managing your energy isn't about shame, blame, or disrupting your lifestyle. It's about the small, intentional choices to reclaim that natural energy. If this episode hit the mark for you, share with others. This journey doesn't have to be lost and lonely, but exciting and full of new paths. See you back here to continue the adventure.